ox cart was here when I come here, but was here a while longer after I come. And then it disappeared. Horse and buggy days come along, and the automobiles come along. And the jets come along. And I don't know what's coming next.
Thank you very much, sir.
All you do is push the cassette in the machine, punch the start button, and up comes the picture on the set.
Everything is nice as far as white and coal is concerned, racially. Houston and here, the people, Texas period, the people seem to have less racial problems than they do in New York and Chicago in the north.
We know that there are hostile forces that have weapons capable of hitting our country and producing a very serious problem which can actually be detrimental to the health of the entire nation.
Texas Vietnam Veterans Against the War will declare the Fort Worth Dallas area a free fire zone beginning at 0600 hours Friday, 4 September 1971.
And we can't stop it. I'll give my word and honor to the people of Dallas County and Texas. I don't intend to stop until we do stop it.
Had I thought that the police officer did exercise brutality or had violated the law in making this arrest, the officers would have been suspended by this department.
There are hundreds of people every week being shot down in America, and violent acts are being done. Crime is rising 6 times faster than the population. President Johnson took actions, and I think he was right. I think he could take action now to do something to see that the justice and punishment are meted out immediately.
I'm in a position to know that Dallas is one of the finest cities in the United States of America for Negroes.
Hey, I lost that part.
I think the people of Dallas and the city of Dallas have been castigated unnecessarily, unmercifully, and unrighteously.
No one's sure how the fire got started. Some say it was an accident, some say it was the result of an argument gone wrong. Others say she had been planning it for a long time. What was certain was that thousands of dollars were missing from a safe in the basement. It took till dawn to quell the flames. Then the bodies started piling in. On the side of Farm Market 1428, a red car was abandoned with the body inside. The The officers on the scene said the driver had been sedated and shot from outside the vehicle. The dead man was the owner of a chain of grocery stores and was known to have been involved in a multitude of seedy affairs. They speculated that the murderer had a getaway car waiting. A crowd gathered on a house on Rieger Avenue as a suspected slumlord's body was loaded into a hearse by men smoking cigars, poisoned by a drink. The evidence was clear. A boy said he saw 3 people leaving the house in the morning. A pair of shoes was found. Later that day, 2 men were arrested and claimed to only be accomplices. The mastermind was missing, and they said she'd taken the money with her. The next morning, a small airplane that had been reported hijacked was found crashed in a field in the middle of nowhere. The landowner said he heard nothing. No body was found, and they assumed her dead. When the authorities told her parents what she'd done and what became of her, they just couldn't bear it. Her father had to be taken to the hospital and never returned to the nursing home. Her mother never had a good day again. The town continued to gossip around the murders and the theft for quite some time. It was all so strange because everyone who knew her thought her nice and kind, and the money was never recovered. Months later, a news report surfaced from Greenville, Texas.
The strange case of Jane X begins somewhere in East Texas and so far has tended to end here in the Hunt County Courthouse in Greenville. Jane was picked up last Wednesday by Greenville police wandering around in the south part of town. She's now in the Hunt County Jail, has been there since Wednesday, and will say nothing to anyone.
They sat her down and asked her who she was, where she'd been, and where she was going, and they got nothing. They couldn't get a word from her. All she had to her person was a beaded purse, a box of matches, some aftershave, hair conditioner, a comb, and a red book with some pages torn out. They let her go after being unable to pin her with the charge, for it was indeed not a crime to be a nobody. She went on to live a quiet life around people who knew nothing about her. Many years later, she sponsored a local gardening competition that was of great importance to the locals. The winner won a prize of $5,000. It was later discovered that the prize money consisted of counterfeit bills that were traced back to the fire in Dallas. She left that town soon after saying goodbye to her closest neighbors who knew her as Renee. The county deployed a rigorous information campaign to prevent the fraudulent money from spreading, but they had little success. The markets kept on moving.
Just hold it above the elbow and just press. Cock it here, pull the trigger, and count to 3.
He wrote this, by the way. Thought you'd get a kick out of it.
People say that when they see the rebel flag or hear Dixie, first thing that comes to their mind is racism, and this isn't true. The rebel theme in Dixie inspires spirit. It makes you want to yell, and I don't see any reason to change it at all.
Let me enumerate the problems.
Everybody on this campus is a part of this campus, and the theme is alienating some people from the campus activities, and that people that support this school are black and white, and no one has the right to make these people stop coming to this campus.
Our point at Annapolis about dissent is that it should be expressed within the framework of the American system, not by violence or by civil disobedience.
We are tired. We will sit here, we will stand here until I won't have no power left. And guess what? We got black power, that's down a long way.
And now we're getting some gas.
The shouting and chanting, it's such a disturbance and disrupting thing to a meeting. It's not really playing the rules of the game.
I think sometimes we say we're so close to the forest we can't see the trees.
But they keep telling me, you gonna get some, when I'm gonna get it. I guess they're gonna wait till I go to the hospital and have this baby. But I'm like everybody else. I be down here every day. I might have this baby down here, but I'm still coming. Cause see, we got to fight all the right.
No ifs and buts, specs, or maybes, and give these people some kind of answer to the questions that they are raising.
It's a little silly for them to walk into a store and spend money on one side of the store and then be told they're trespassing if they want to spend money and sit down and eat on the other side of the store.
We want each player
to participate.
I feel like I'm lost. I feel like I ain't got nowhere to go.
I can appreciate their concern, but they must realize that
a lot of work can be done in a short time when everyone works together. Work was fun, even when I did KP.
The public is a lot smarter, a lot hipper, and a lot more broad-minded than anyone in the past has given them credit for being.
Come on, give me a kiss.
You try to get the broadest cross-section of all of the expressive viewpoints in the city that you possibly can.
And let them see for themselves.
Now I know them all.
Did you feel afraid?
We just don't know. We can only speculate at this point.
We don't expect justice in the courts of Texas.
Why not?
Well, because it is clear. It is
a little bit more complicated than what you have seen, but in the interest of time, it was shortened. At least we think you did get the idea.
Southwest, in the lusty days when Dallas was a brawling frontier town, when lawlessness rode unchallenged through the streets, and the badge of justice was only as good as the aim of the man who wore it. Into this wide-open outpost came Reb Hollister, gunfighter, plainsman, deadliest shot in all Texas, friend and shooting partner of the great Bill Hickok. Reb Hollister, in whose past was a burning secret that made him take to the avenging trail alone, in search of 3 men who had destroyed everything he held sacred.
Get down off that horse. Pop that gun off, it'll cost you $10,000.
Don't you bite on that.
What if you weren't a wanted man? We're free to go or stay. What would you do then? I'd sink my roots in Dallas and take her away from you. Any way I could. Nothing's changed.
Everything's changed, Red. I can't let you go.
In a story taken from the annals of the great state of Texas, the story of the man who blazed the way for a new frontier, the story of the first drive on the dangerous Chisholm Trail.
You ain't gonna talk your way out of it this time, Marshal.
You won't either, Brian.
Last August, the administration reported that the incomes of the American people rose substantially from 72 to 73. The congressional study, which came out today, shows that a middle-class family of 4 with $12,600 to spend had to pay an extra $1,160 to maintain its 1972 living standards in 1973.
13 minutes before the stroke of midnight. Eastern officials say the plane was on time and ready to land, but was ordered into a holding pattern so that American could be in first.
How does it feel to have almost flown the first regularly scheduled plane into Dallas-Fort Worth?
Well, we would have been number 1, but we was held up before the American Airlines could come in.
Captain Harley said he wished someone had told him he was going to have to cool his heels thousands of feet up.
He said he could have stayed on the ground in Atlanta for 25 minutes rather than burn up 4,000 extra pounds of fuel during the current energy crisis.
"10 p.m., American Airlines, Gate 6. In 2 hours, the very first plane load of passengers to land at the new airport would be walking up this ramp."
You got an hour and 28 minutes. Are you going to make it?
Yes, sir.
How long you been working on this?
Since November the 15th.
How about this little section?
About an hour and a half.
And you're going to get all this laid before that plane gets in here?
Yep.
What happens if you don't?
Well, we will.
All right. And then there were the Bill Allens of Belzona, Mississippi. Nobody told them that their honeymoon flight would attract so much attention. But that honeymoon was delayed. It seems the Allens' luggage got lost.
We're kind of historical significance. We're the first complainers at the new Fort Worth Dallas Airport, I think. Work toward solving.
Yes. For example, in Singing Hills and Hamilton Park, we definitely need more recreational facilities. For example, here it is, 1969, in West Dallas, in the United States of America. We do not have sewers. This is not a luxury.
South Dallas is the biggest predominantly Negro community in the city, and it wasn't until just recently that much hope for any kind of a job besides domestic or manual labor was open to a Negro.
For this project, just to put on the priority totem pole, where is there waterways at this time?
Well, as you know, there are many commitments of the federal government. A lot of these are in the area of defense spending. This now is taking such a lion's share of the federal budget that there's very little money left over for any domestic program.
It's been many, many months since the F-111 concept first came off the drawing boards and went into the sky. They've been very trying months. There have been very many people who didn't believe in the airplane, and many who fought very strongly for it. Well, for those people here at General Dynamics and at Carswell Air Force Base, both Air Force and civilian, today is indeed a very symbolic day. Jerry Sam, Channel 8.
When you get in contention, and they're playing very loose and they're going all out. And gosh, they've done a remarkable job, I feel, and against 3 times.
Higher prices and fewer jobs will further erode consumer income and confidence.
Do you think the sexual revolution is just one more male ego trip?
Yeah, there's an article in this issue about that by Anselmo Dell'Olio called "The Sexual Revolution Wasn't Our War," and it points out that it really was designed to make more women available to more men without any attention to women's wants, needs, pleasures, anatomy. Nothing, so in many ways, women's liberation and the sexual revolution as we have known it are antithetical.
Your oppressive beauty standards, I got nothing else to say.
time will come, probably, when we have a woman president. As I said a moment ago, the men haven't been doing too well.
One of the major problems in Texas in the 70s is the use of drugs and narcotics by particularly our young people.
A girl that is blind glass, a car that is blind glass, a car that is blank glass, a car that is black glass, Acura that is blind glass, a car that is blank laugh, Acura that is blank glass, a girl that is blind glass, a girl that is black glass, Icarus that is blind glass. By Gertrude Stein, by Gertrude Stein, Gertrude Stein, by Gertrude Stein, but Gertrude Stein, by Gertrude Stein, the Gertrude Stein, times Gertrude Stein, divergence time, tiger truck, stop by Gertrude Steins. A kind in glass and a cousin, a kind in glass and a cousin, diamond and a Znats der Sturgab, Bats, Sturgat, Nats, der Sturviad, Nats, der Sturgsmath, Nats, der Sturgat, Nats, der Sturgab, Nats, der Sturgab, Nats, der Sturgab, Nats, der Sturgnats, der Sturgab, Nats, der Sturgab. Salgnat zed circuit, Salgnat zed lurg, Salgnat zed lurg, Salgnat zed arshka, Salgnat zed rock, Salgnat zed arshka, Salgnat zed rock, Salgnat zed rock, Salgnat zed rock, Salgnat zed lurg.
In September, think how much fun it would be on ABC.
This September, a deliberate communist peace
Yes,
the
I used to use
president may be under great pressure
They've
to
added
reciprocate.
plastic or something that gives a better shine. I'll use it again. Shine that lasts is all I want. Plastic? Sounds good.
That when you have several thousand
wage earners residing in your city whose livelihoods are dependent upon a giant corporation like LTV. You really pull for them. And certainly, we're hopeful LTV gains this contract. It would have an enormously favorable impact upon our community. We're worried about losing good citizens who have been associated with LTV for many, many years and have been caught in some of these employee adjustments. And
this thing in hair is the three lengths. We have the short length with the low form in the back, which is very feminine, and elegant, which is the name of the trend by the National Association. It's smooth, combination with curls, and very feminine looking. And then we go into the midi length, which can be added with a hairpiece. Then we'll go into maybe a little longer look. Poofs are new, not the little tiny curls anymore, but poofs and bigger effects. Then we go into the maxi of longer hair. And we sort of name these like the skirt lengths. Wear the longer length hair, then we think you ought to wear the long.
That when you have several thousand residing in your city whose wage earners residing in your city whose livelihoods are dependent upon a giant corporation like LTV. A giant corporation like LTV. You really pull for them. We're worried about losing good citizens for them who have been associated with LTV for many, many years and have been caught in some of these employee adjustments. And certainly, and we're hopeful LTV
this thing in hair is the three lengths. We have the short length
gains this contract.
with the low form in the back,
enormously favorable,
which is very feminine
on our community. We're worried about losing good citizens
and elegant, which is the name of the trend by the National Association.
For many, many years and have been caught in some of these employee
it's smooth, combination with curls,
adjustments, and
very feminine looking. And then we go into we sort of name these like the skirt lengths,
wage
which
earners
can be added with a
residing in your
hairpiece.
city whose
And we'll go into maybe a little
I'm
lighter
Julie
are
Lockhart, and
dependent
I've
upon
served a lot of fried chicken to my family, but fried chicken can be a little greasy.
giant corporation.
About the only
so happy with
fact
shake
on
and
which
bake.
both sides agree is that Israel started the fighting this time. The spokesman in Tel Aviv says Israeli
No
planes
frying.
attacked
So your
Egyptian
chicken comes
positions
out
on the western
crispy,
side of the
but not
Suez
greasy
Canal
like fried chicken.
because of what he called Egypt's
That really
total
tastes the
disregard
difference.
for the
Crispy, but not
ceasefire
greasy
line.
like fried
The
chicken.
spokesman also
Shake
said it
and
was the
bake.
first
It's
time
better
the
than
Israeli Air
frying.
Force had attacked since the 1967 war. It is the Air Force on which Israel depends
People
primarily
add
for its
plastic,
defense.
and it won't yellow. Great. I like the idea of plastic.
which is very feminine
Sunday, the secret thoughts of women revealed. Lee
and
Renner,
elegant,
the women's
which is
room.
the name of the
We know a
trend
little
by the
place in the
National
American
Association.
Far West where Charlie Briggs chops up the finest prairie-fed beef and tastes. This is a lot of You want one more?
Yes,
More on what, beef?
You missed the first beef, actually, completely.
What do you mean missed it?
You're emphasizing prairie-fed.
But you can't emphasize beef. That's like he's wanting me to emphasize in before July. Come on, fellas, you're losing your head.
ABC presents an original motion picture produced especially for the movie of the week. Tonight on the movie of the week.
I'm in a position to know that Dallas is one of the finest cities in the United States of America for Negroes. The wonderful relationship that we have between the races in Dallas, they are not aware of the fact of the harm that it's going to do to the Negroes in the city of Dallas. I do feel that the peace-minded and peacemaking Negro citizens and Christians, and above all things, I do feel that no gospel preacher should be interested in race hatred and violence. And if this sit-in strike at these lunch counters reach Dallas, and if it continues in the cities where it is already being promulgated at this particular time, it certainly is going to bring a lot of shame and slander upon our city.
We think of this basically, they call it law and order, and I consider it probably the major domestic issue we have in this country, when women are not safe to drive in the cars alone or to come in their home. And what we've got to do is take a positive attitude in the administration. We need to appoint judges who really mean business on law and order, and we need to stand behind the law enforcement officers. There's an attitude about wanting to know how to protect the criminal, but in this country today, we need to spend more time thinking about the good, average, solid, law-abiding citizen.
The ox cart was here when I come here, but was here a while longer after I come. and then it disappeared. Horse and buggy days come along, and the automobiles come along, and the jets come along, and I don't know what's coming next.
Thank you very much, sir.
Just about the time man, in all his wisdom, decides that he has this world and everything in it all figured out, along comes something he can't explain.
There are a lot of unsolved problems in the matter, problems that grow in size with each passing day.
Well, it was about 7 foot tall, weighed about 350 pounds, and it was hairy, and I couldn't see his face. It was in the dark.
There's a report that it has scales, too. Did you notice that?
I was so scared I didn't see nothing like that.
How long have they been raiding your place?
Well, quite a while. They come in every year about this time. I don't have half a chance, you know, now, as I did when Mr. Ballard was here, because he hunted quite a bit.
Well, I understand you have shot some also.
Well, I've crippled them. I don't know whether they died or not. They went off on 3 legs.
At any rate, something happened out here last night, and so tonight there will be more people back, armed with cameras and probably with rifles. Jerry Taff, Channel 8 News, at Lake Worth.
Another recent problem has been the recurring strong taste and odor of water coming from Lake Worth. The odor and unpleasant taste is laid to a growth of algae which takes place during the summer months.
We've not been able to find that this was actually a communist conspiracy. My own feeling, after analyzing all of the evidence, is that this is but a good warning to the free world that maybe we've been letting our guard down on the question of human rights.
I think it's absolutely unfair statement, and I think it's untrue. An eclipse of the moon was coming, and the Russian almanac, a communist almanac, said there's going to be an eclipse of the moon the 15th of next month, and our almanac said there's be an eclipse of the moon. It'd be about like saying, well, you're agreeing with the communists. You've got the same eclipse starting the same day the communists say it's going to be. It's just about that sensible.
How were we able to drink of the sea? Who gave us the sponge to wipe away the entire horizon? What did we do when we unchained the earth from its sun? Whither is it moving now? Whither are we moving now? Away from all suns? Are we not perpetually falling? Backward, sideward, forward, in all directions? Is there any up or down left? Are we not straying as through an infinite nothing? Do we not feel the breath of empty space? Has it not become colder? Is it not more and more night coming on all the time? Must not lanterns be lit in the morning? Who will wipe this blood off us? With what water could we purify ourselves? What festivals of atonement? What sacred games shall we need to invent? Is not the greatness of this deed too great for us? Must we not ourselves become gods simply to be worthy of it? There has never been a greater deed, and whosoever shall be born after us, for the sake of this deed he shall be part of a higher history than all history hitherto.
The ox cart was here when I come here, but was here a while longer after I come. Horse and buggy days come along. Then the automobiles come along. Then the jets come along. And then it disappeared. And I don't know what's coming next.
Young people today have a lot of ideas that must seem strange to you. Would you have any advice for the young people today?
I don't think I would.
Just my personality, the way I was, caused me to rebel and seek out the things which were more or less forbidden, and my natural curiosity also helped in that area.
What we have here is a potpourri of the lice, the plague, and the rats that spread it, of course. What is it that makes a situation that no longer exists so appealing to these people?
A return to more direct values, a chance to
get back to basic things that a person believes in strongly, like if I have a quarrel with someone, I can fight them, and if I win, then I've won my chance to be the person that a person would like to be.
Says Baron Draconis, our problems are real. We don't invent imaginary dragons and then slay them.
These kids seem to be looking for something beyond the values that are inherent in our technological society. And they want to get some meaning and direction in their lives and delve into the teachings, the value systems, renunciation of all desire. They want to renounce these material values as the master of their lives. That is, there are other values beyond these that they're looking for.
I had heard of the hippies, etc., smoking marijuana, things like this, and so I said this was the time. And so I decided to try and induce rebellion, and I don't mean through pain, but through fear.
The appearance of impending disaster is spreading throughout the area. The center of this massive Excedrin headache is Commerce and Akron. But as the number of participants grows, the pandemonium also spreads out over a wider area. This is Roger McDonald, Channel 8 News.
This is, of course, the devil.
Yes, you're right.
Is evil easy to draw?
Evil is very easy to draw, you know. He's smiling, he's always pointing something, he's... yes.
Feed dealer, there will be an ideal success. This neck of it, see, like he's not a feed is a secret, and a person shower thumb all make great going you in there. We've been drove for next year, facts it, the ideas, I if he has a surf, but there was so big with an essence pro feed it as a still up to a searing if below, or chan, but the cog, yeah. Så för det sån förlägger hit säger man varför då the slide no people are it in the fact mamma you know she's up there hit go to see Lord yeah.
But you get the impression around Dallas today that a lot of people would rather be watching something else. Jack Hill, Channel 8 News on the Move.
I think this week we're coming up against a club that's won the first game. They're going to have a lot going for them, but they're still undecided on their quarterback situation, and this tends to keep them from.
One of Mr. Columbo's weaknesses was his propensity to turn matters over to the Soviet Union when he couldn't get satisfaction from the UN in his efforts to put down the secessionist elements. Now, there was very much Soviet Union growth. The only struggle with country for stability was the imperial the Vietnam resolution was inspired by the White House. We had a feeling, not that we didn't want to support the action in Vietnam, but that this was not a proper place, that it was a political ploy to try and bring this up at the Conference of Governors.
It's a time to widen the opportunity for service in public affairs.
Well, let's answer.
And I have tried to do this in a number of ways. Through VESTA, the Volunteers in Service to America, where young men and women help those who need it most.